We're gonna let some people get in here, but um, yeah, this is another Friday self-development live video. Friday evening, so I'm not expecting a huge turnout, but we'll start once we get a few people in here. It's like that. Fresh. I can't share I'm on my phone, so I can't share the link. Whenever I go on my phone, I can't share the link. But pretty much, once we're 2 minutes in, I'm just gonna start talking about the topic of conversation today, which is willpower and taking action. Okay, so it's gonna be saved. It's gonna be saved and recorded, so people can always rewatch it whenever they want to watch it. You know what I mean? So I've been told my head's too small for my body. I'm just gonna start in probably like 30 seconds. No big deal. You know what I mean? Just trying to help my fellow men, my fellow soldiers, my fellow warriors out there, even women, men and women, mainly men though. It's men who got it a bit tougher, in my opinion, especially nowadays with masculinity being targeted so hard. Okay, so welcome to a Capital Hungry Friday self-development live video. Also, just a rant that I like to go on every now and again. This one is about willpower and taking action. So, ever since this is what I'm going to be talking about, the different concepts I'm going to be talking about, especially from a psychological perspective, it's nothing new. It's something that's been rinsing and repeating through history, just with various civilizations and societies that we have seen over the generations. And it's a common pattern of the strong conquering the weak in some way, fashion, or form, and having a control hierarchy and system in place that makes sure that the weak who are being conquered don't even know they are being conquered. So, one of the main reasons, one of the main issues, and one of the main reasons that leads to this type of what we can call mass psychosis or this type of tyrannical societies where you pretty much have to obey and listen to the government and the state and follow whatever they do, no matter what is going on. It doesn't matter if it follows logic, it doesn't matter if it follows or breaks any of your morals or personal ethics. You just have to obey to the state, or you're going to have to potentially face ridicule, whether it be from a family pressure, social pressure. You might have to, you might not have the same privileges you used to at one point if you don't follow the rules that this tyrannical society has put in place. And we're going to really see how over the last year and a half with the pandemic, that's really been exploited and tested to a new level in height, where it seems like in the Western side of society, the personal the personal willpower of the human as an individual has been absolutely lost, and they're just being turned into mindless zombies that have no option but to conform. Now, within a population, when the strong, regardless of what generation it is, we're going to talk about it as the one percenters in the common modern area. When they are looking to take over a population, it's not from a physical violent front anymore. It's from a psychological front of manipulating, brainwashing, and programming a person to literally follow your order and command and think that is the only set reality, when in turn there's no more logic really supporting it, and it only supports the wants and needs of that tyrannical force or tyrannical leadership, right? So through the pandemic itself, we have seen this at an exponential high, where through the lockdowns, as well as all the various rules regarding COVID, all of the science regarding COVID, the science behind the vaccines, how different countries have different rules, different states or provinces within a country can have different rules. You have all this focus on health and improving people's health, but you're still having like liquor stores being open, you're still having all this substance abuse being promoted, you're still having children being pushed to pharmaceutical options to fix their problems from a mental perspective. Nothing makes sense. For the last year and a half regarding COVID, nothing has really made sense. And to me, this hasn't been a this hasn't been as much of a viral and biological pandemic compared to the size of the mental pandemic that it's been, in my opinion. There has been a huge amount of control and power and personal choice of the individual person being absolutely taken away. And sometimes with a lot of these rules, and I'm not here to be like, oh, COVID doesn't exist, or people didn't die from COVID, or it didn't cause a lot of harm. I'm not there to say that. COVID is 100% real, and the people that died from it, all those complications, the issues that arise from it, it is all 100% real. But in my opinion, a lot of this stuff and a lot of crisis proven through history, whether it be war or on a biological front or on an economic front, regardless what the crisis is, majority of the time proven through history, it has been man-made by a tyrannical force and leadership to exert their power, to exert their control, and to extend this control and power over the masses through generational periods. This has been the same this has been the same tape repeating through history, regardless what civilizations, regardless what societies, regardless what crisis, there's always been an agenda behind it that benefits a small percent and absolutely decimates and destroys the freedoms of the 99% and the majority of other people. You've seen this through the histories, whether it be in ancient times with enslavement in Egypt, whether it be with conquerors taking over lands and the various measures they use, like eras such as Genghis Khan. You've seen this through the war era with people such as Hitler, or Stalin, or all these various tyrants and leaders who can take over an entire population and change and manipulate the entire thinking process of that population and remove all their freedoms, all their rights. Now, the difference was when you had situations like Hitler, or when you had someone like, for example, Genghis Khan, it was very easy to see this person is a conqueror. This person is a tyrant. They're literally physically going to war and raiding and taking over other places and expanding their reach, expanding their empire. Or with someone like Hitler, it's very easy to see on paper, oh, this is exactly what he was doing to the Jewish people. He was enslaving them, he was killing them, the Holocaust, and so forth. It's very easy to see that. Nowadays, it's not right in front of your eyes. The enslavement, the entrapment, the removing of a person's willpower is all happening behind the scenes. In the Western side of society, everybody is way too distracted with short-term dopamine hits and satisfactions, whether it be from social media and all those other things that I talk about, that they don't even realize what's going on behind the scenes with slowly and surely their freedoms and rights being taken away and us moving closer and closer to a totalitarian government and state, as well as having pretty much a tyrannical leadership where if we don't follow exactly what they say, even though it might not have any scientific proof, even though it might not benefit the people, even though there's no logic or reasoning behind it, if we don't follow what they say, we will suffer. We will be punished in some way or form. Whether that punishment is some type of exile, where you cannot go into certain bars or you can't go into certain venues without showing your vaccine ID, that seems pretty similar to when Jews in Nazi Germany had to show their Star of David, or had to show their identification during the period of the Holocaust when all of their rights and freedoms were taken away. It was just very abrupt and in your face and very easy to identify in those situations with war, or in the situations where you have a tyrannical leader who is very physically violent. In the Western side of society, these tyrannical leaders, these people in power, they're not using violence because the people would not stand for that violence. Especially in America, you would have a civil war, you would have unrest if they tried to do that, right? Instead, this enslavement has been a slow and steady process, not just through the pandemic. This programming and dumbing down of the Western side of society's masses to turn them into the perfect consumers, to remove their willpower, to remove their personal power of choice, and to get them to conform. This has been going on for decades. But through the pandemic, with the lockdown measures, with the I don't know about you guys, but let me give you guys an example of me in Canada. Through the last year and a half, first of all, we were locked down when we have an extremely small population, less cases than other countries, but we were still locked down for economic reasons to destabilize the economy and to give certain individuals more wealth while also destroying small businesses and stomping on the middle class workers and the regular poor and working class. We see this cycle repeat every 10 to 15 years within the financial markets. But there was, for something that's impacting health, a pandemic, a virus where people should be in the best health and shape they can possibly be. They should be eating good foods. They should be getting sufficient rest. They should be working out and developing and strengthening their body and immune system. Why was things like the gyms closed? Now, okay, fine. They want to say the gyms were closed. I understand. You don't want to spread the virus. You can have people touching various things. Fine. Gyms are closed. Small businesses are closed. Restaurants are closed. Why were the liquor stores still kept open? Why were certain big box corporation stores like Walmart kept open, but the mom and pop shop closed? Why were they exempt to these mandate and rules? Why? Because the agenda is not looking for the best interest of the people. They don't actually give a fuck about the health or the state of the people or the well-being of the people. They care about money. It's all about money. How come these various big corporations like McDonald's still got to deliver food nonstop through the whole pandemic as deliveries went through the roof? People using these food delivery apps, people going to the liquor store, people going to go get more weed, going to Costco, going to Walmart, going to McDonald's. But every single small family business had to shut down. People were not allowed to go back to work, for example, as well, right? So what I'm trying to say is, there was no baseline. There was no logic being followed from the start of the pandemic till now. Everything has been confusion and chaos. But this is on purpose. The reason there has been confusion and chaos with the lockdowns, the rules regarding the lockdowns, the statistics around the virus itself, with the statistics around the vaccines, and first they said vaccines wouldn't come out for 5 years or 2 years. Now all of a sudden they came out within 6 months. Everything has been confusion and chaos because this is a strategy used by tyrannical government forces previously in history, because when you can get a group of population, the masses, and you can have them in a chaotic, confused state, they have a higher probability to follow a conformed government and to follow the rules that the leadership puts in place. Because the masses' hopes become, from a psychological standpoint, that okay, this nothing makes sense. I'm scared. What if my grandma dies? What if my cousin gets this? Do I need the vaccine? How come this store's open? How come this is closed? How come I can't go back to work? How come this person can still travel? Why can these people still go? Why can these people can travel here? Why is this country open? Why is this country closed? None of this makes sense. Okay, I can't take this anymore. Maybe if I just keep following these orders, these people who are supposed to be our leaders and have our best interests in mind and our well-being in mind, maybe they will make everything better. This psychological manipulation has been used in civilizations for control many, many times before. It's called fear-mongering. It's nothing new. I'm just describing the step-by-step psychological process where that fear, that confusion, that chaos, it leaves a person scared, it leaves a person not knowing what to believe, and the easiest choice for that person, especially in the Western side of society, where we know before the pandemic, the majority of people on the Western side of society, they have already been programmed to do what? Go for ease, go for convenience, go for what's safe, go for what's easy. Go through their applications, through social media, through a lack of work ethic, through a lack of discipline, through the lack of willpower. They've already been programmed that way. So now, bam, You hit them with this pandemic, you hit them with all this chaos and confusion, and all these people who have no education for themselves, who have no willpower, who have no personal choice. The easiest thing for them to do now is to conform. Follow the rules, do what you're told, give up your freedoms and rights, and that's it. Hopefully, if you keep giving up enough freedoms and rights, if you get your vaccine, if you get the double shot of vaccine, even though you can still get COVID, if you have your vaccine passport, if you have your vaccine QR code, hopefully after giving up enough rights, we'll eventually go back to the way life used to be in that normal state. What the masses want more than anything, the dumbed down masses, what they want more than anything is to go back to the way of life before the pandemic. So they are willing to give up any right. They are willing, and they don't even know they're giving up their rights. They don't even know they're giving up their freedom. So they are willing to give that all up bit by bit until they can finally get this glimmer of hope that they will go back to the state that we used to be in. Right? So this conformity, this control, this removal of rights is being disguised as cooperation, where, number one, first ask yourself, when has the government ever had your best interest in mind? If you actually take the time to use the supercomputer in your brain as well as the supercomputer in your hands and go to study how economics works or how politics works, there is nothing within the study of politics or within the real world use of politics as well as economics that talks about the well-being of humanity or the well-being of the middle class or the poor or the working class. There's nothing. It's all to further extend power, all to further extend control, all to further benefit a small percent of the population, while the rest of the population is in a state of suffering, but they have been manipulated and programmed to think that what they are going through is normal. Look, everybody's going through this. We have to go through this. This is the way it is. Even though nothing makes sense, even though it's a virus that has a 99% effective survival rate, even though the vaccines are not fully approved or fully tested, it doesn't matter. Even though the lockdown rules didn't matter, it doesn't matter. If none of that shit matters, people are still giving up their rights and freedoms. So anyways, never mind going into too much about the pandemic and conspiracy. People are going to say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, this is the way it is, yada, yada. Never mind that. Just understand that people for the last decade, especially in the Western side of society, have already been getting programmed to have their rights, freedoms, and power of choice removed. Everything in terms of your choice of what you want to eat, what you want to watch, what you want to consume, how you want to spend your time, that's all been taken away from you before the pandemic. What you want to eat is based on what you're scrolling through, what application you're going to look at, what you're emotionally feeling like to eat. You're not eating based on what's going to best. You're not eating based on what's going to fuel your body and your machine the best. You're eating based on emotions, what you're advertised to, what's going to taste good. What about what you mentally consume in terms of media? Well, all of that attention and awareness goes to Netflix, it goes to social media, it goes to these websites, it goes to these video games, right? So all of your personal choice, all of your willpower for the last decade before the pandemic has already been slowly removed. And we're and I keep saying this point over and over again because I don't understand how it doesn't resonate with people. We are in such a developed society where we have supercomputers in our hands, where we can go learn any skill, learn about any topic or industry within the entire world right at our fingertips, where we are more connected than we've ever been before, but people are also more depressed, more suicidal, more anxious, more confused, and more scared than they've ever been before. People feel like they no longer have a willpower of their own choice. That every day is just another day's by. You go to work, you scroll social media makes you feel like shit. After you get your little dopamine hits and you repeat, that it keeps repeating. And we're seeing that depression, the dependencies on different drugs, whether it be opioids or other substances such as alcohol, marijuana, overall mental health issues, they're going through the roof. And what are you also noticing? That mental health issues are being marketed and advertised to be a norm. It's being advertised as a norm. Don't worry, everybody is depressed. We're all anxious. We all have this anxiety. This is normal nowadays. This is how our society has developed. No, it's being advertised that mental illness is now normalized. It's being advertised that it's normal. Don't worry, take this pill. Don't worry, puff on this. Don't worry, go to this fucking venue, talk to this person. It's being normalized now because you can't have people out of this mental state. If people get their own power of choice back, if people get their own fucking willpower back, that fire in their fucking heart, that warrior spirit, and say, no, I'm not fucking listening to this shit anymore. I'm gonna go fuck being depressed, fuck going on social media, fuck this mindless nonsense. If they can literally slap themselves in the face and wake up and go, what the fuck am I doing every day? I'm watching the fucking news. I'm scared about this. I'm scared about that. I don't know shit about shit. I never studied anything. I don't go learn anything. I don't go through any trial and error. And then I'm sitting here wondering why I'm depressed. It's because that willpower, that fire that people used to have within their spirit, that's been absolutely destroyed on purpose. Because when you have your own personal willpower, that fire that drives you, when you think for yourself, when you go out and get what you want for yourself, whether it be knowledge, whether it be value, whether it be money, whether it be personal growth, development with your body, mentality, spirit, financial development. When you go do that for yourself, you are not a great consumer. You are a fucking wonderful human being. You are a very strong-willed human being. But that's not what the 1%ers want. The 1%ers want the masses to be absolutely perfect consumers. What's the perfect consumer? Someone who goes to work every day, has no power of choice, has no willpower, listens to everything listens to every direction, every order, and scrolls on their phone, jerks off and goes to porn every day, plays endless video games, mindlessly consumes, never produces shit because you need willpower to produce something. You need that fire in your fucking soul to wake you up every day to produce something. You don't want to live like an NPC. You don't want to live like a background character. You want to be the main character in your anime fucking story. As corny as that sounds. Your story's going to have ups and downs. It's going to have tribulations. It's going to have losses. You're going to go through chaos, but you're going to come through it stronger than the rest of these fucking NPCs. The rest of these background characters, the rest of these people who are just in the reality are mindless zombies. People don't even talk to each other anymore. Everything is just mindless, surface level conversation about what they saw on social media. One friend sending another friend a meme. One friend telling another friend what happened on the news. One friend telling another friend what this celebrity, what this friend did. There's no more intellectual conversations being held by the masses. Right? Why can't we do that? Why can't we inspire each other? Why can't we help wake each other up? Why can't we ignite that willpower? Because, listen up, all of us still have that fire in us. You know how we know all of us still have that fire in us? Tell me right now, how many men are in this chat right now? Say, put a 1 in the chat if you're a man in the chat right now. I don't care if you're old. I don't care if you're short. I don't care if you're black, brown, fucking purple. I don't care if you got man tits. I don't care if you got skinny as fuck. I don't care if you're obese. At one point in time, over the last week, over the last month, over the last year, you pictured yourself as a better man in your head. You pictured yourself, you had an image of yourself, of what you would look like if you were in the best physical condition. You've had dreams for yourself of wanting to live a better life, to support your family, to support your friends, to have more freedoms and willpower yourself. You've had a vision of yourself before in your mind, whether it be every day, whether it gets suppressed, whether you ignore it. You as a man cannot tell me you do not have that fucking vision of yourself. Tell me right now, whether you picture yourself like Goku, whether you picture yourself like a billionaire, whether you picture yourself like a conqueror, whether you picture yourself like your favorite, you have that. Whether you picture yourself with your own face, a bigger body, bigger muscles, whether it's in a sports car, picking up the chicks you want, helping people around you, being able to buy a home. You picture yourself as a better man within your head. Do you not? Even though you might feel depressed, even though you might feel anxious, You've gone through that as a man, have you not? Guess what? That means your willpower is still alive, but it's a dwindling fire. Within the masses, it's a little candle flame. It's a little candle flame right now, but it's there. It's alive. It's still burning. It's never gonna go out. It can eventually go out if we go into a full tyrannical society, right? But what I just proved is with all the men in here, can you not agree that you've had some type of vision of a better version of yourself within your mind? Whatever aspect it may be, whether it's on an intellectual aspect, whether it's on a financial aspect, whether it's on a physical aspect, whether it's on a spiritual aspect, whatever your vision of a better version of yourself may be, tell me right now you've never had that. Tell me one man in here who hasn't had that. That is your fucking willpower. That is your spirit. That is your courage, your energy. But within the Western side of society, what have you noticed with the majority of people? That fire, that flame has been stomped down and has been driven down to be a little candle light. Mine is a fucking raging inferno. That's why I want to do these lives. That's why I want you guys to feel my inferno. I want you guys to feel the heat off me. I want you to feel my willpower and take some of that energy and use it for your fucking self. You feel it. Tell me right now you don't feel it. Tell me right now you don't feel your fire growing a little bit bigger just from this conversation with each other. Tell me that right now. My fellow men in here, my fellow warriors, my fellow human beings who want to be better, my fellow main characters, my fellow conquerors, tell me right now, you don't feel a little bit more fired up. You don't feel a little bit stronger. You're not looking at yourself going, I could be a little bit better. What am I doing right now? Tell me you don't feel the heat radiating through the fucking screen. This guy said, show your body. No, I'm not showing my fucking body right now. All right? Now, let's learn as a community of men who want to strive to be better, who want to have more intellectual prowess and value. First of all, let's strive to be more intellectually evolved. This will allow us to have more knowledge, more experience, and a bigger network to make decisions for ourselves. No matter if listen, everybody. I don't care if it's me telling you something. I don't care if it's your dad. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's the news. I don't care if it's the government. As a man, as a human being, you should still be able to not take everything at face value and still process the information yourself, validate it yourself, and confirm if you want to believe in it or not. Because you have all those resources to do that at your fingertips. Don't think you don't. That's number one. Even me, don't even fucking listen to what I say without going to do your own research and say, you know what? Is he really about this shit? Okay, maybe I should go start developing myself. All right? Let's develop ourselves. Let's take that willpower. Let's take that fire. And with our community, let's grow it into a flame again. I already got an inferno going. You guys see me. I try to motivate you guys and keep myself motivated and have this community aspect. Even if it's a small community of hundreds of people, it doesn't fucking matter. We can make waves and changes with our lives together and understand we have a support system. On those days, it's feeling like dark clouds and thunder and rain, and you're feeling depressed and down. You know you had 100 other guys in this live. You know you had 100 other guys in this live video with you that are on the same path, that feel the same way, that are going through the same trials and tribulations in some way, shape, or form, and that gives you the courage and energy to look back in your spirit and say, let's take some more steps forward. Do you understand what I'm saying? So listen, it's like a reverse spirit bomb. Feed off my energy. If I motivate you, whether it be with my knowledge in the markets, whether it be with the business side of Capital Hungry, whether it be with physical development and my physical well-being, don't fucking envy it. You can be like me 10 times better. You can be smarter than me, faster than me, and guess what? I want you to be smarter and faster than me. I want you to be stronger than me. I want you to have more knowledge than me because I'm never going to be envious or jealous of you. I'm going to have a healthy, masculine, competitive edge to my side with my friends, with my comrades. You get what I'm saying? I'm gonna learn from you. If you start to take leaps ahead of me, we're in the same fucking circle. You're gonna tell me what you learned, and I'm gonna take those next leaps forward. And we're always gonna have that support system. We're always gonna have this healthy competition, this healthy masculine energy of fueling our willpower, our spirit, and courage, and being able to move forward on the days you don't even want to take a step forward at all. On the days you don't even want to get out of bed. On the days you feel like you can't do shit, that's when we want to come back to this. That's when we want to understand, no, it's much bigger than us. You know what I mean? It's much bigger than just our emotions. For what we want, the greatness we want, it's 10 times bigger than just our emotions. But we have been programmed through society. We have been suppressed. We have also been oppressed. And especially men with masculinity being targeted. It's absolutely fucking disgusting. Testosterone has dropped 50% over the last 40 years for a fucking reason. It's absolutely disgusting. But these new age men are the perfect consumers. They're the perfect simps. Do you understand what I'm saying? They only follow their emotions and they're depressed. They're suicidal. They have no personal fulfillment or value. They don't actually have the body they want. They don't actually have the courage, the confidence, the social skills they want. They don't actually have the money they really want to make. Fuck that noise. We're going straight, head down, grind mode. All of us together in all aspects of our life, and we're not going to be striving to just become, we're not trying to reach for the stars. We're trying to take small steps forward, but every single fucking day and together. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I just wanted everybody to understand that over the last decade, and especially over the last year and a half with the pandemic, your willpower, your power of choice, without you even noticing, subconsciously, has been fucking crushed down. That inferno and spirit and flame that all men should have with them, that ambition, that masculinity, that willpower, it's been turned into a little candlelit fire. A little candlelit fire. But guess what? We can make that fire into a raging inferno again. And think about it. Think about it. You guys just said you could feel my energy through the screen. That my fucking pressure-filled aura of willpower is brushing off on you through the screen. Now, imagine if we have hundreds of us soldiers. Imagine if we have hundreds of us with that warrior spirit where we turn our small flame into a raging inferno, and you spread that type of energy to your fellow brothers. You spread that type of energy to your family. And you keep that energy going. When you're feeling down a bit, you look back, you got your brothers behind you. You got your comrades behind you. You got your fellow soldiers next to you. Doesn't matter how fat you are. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter your fucking religion. I don't give a shit how tall you are. I don't give a fuck black, brown, pink, fucking white. I don't give a shit. If you are a man who's had a vision of himself being better, you have this fire in you, and you know you want to make that fire into a fucking raging inferno. I'm telling you how to do it. All right? Don't be scared. Fuel yourself. How are you going to fuel yourself and make that flame into a raging inferno? Well, it's going to take a lot of work, and that work is going to have to go across all aspects of your life. You're going to have to develop better relationships. You're going to have to develop better networks. You're going to have to surround yourself with better people. You're going to have to develop yourself physically in some type of way. You're going to have to develop your mentality. You're going to have to find ways to develop your finances. And it doesn't have to be rags to riches. It doesn't have to be 0 to 100. It has to be 0.0001% better every day, and this compounds. This adds up exponentially over days, over months, over years. And the people who we go through this journey with today are the fucking legends we're going to be with 10 years from now, running the fucking world or living how we want to together. Okay? So I just wanted to give that little bit of motivation and understand that, like, all men, regardless of what you look like, regardless of how you feel regardless of how you feel with your emotions, you know you have a vision of yourself in a better version. You know you have this upgraded version of yourself you see in your head. And when we were kids, it used to be clear. When you were getting a little bit older, it still used to be clear. You wanted to be this Superman. You wanted to be this Superman. You wanted to be a ladies' man, a Superman. You wanted to have this money. You want to have this freedom. You want to be able to help the people around you. But as we have aged and as society has killed masculinity and has stomped on our willpower and our power of choice, that vision has been blurred for people. But you know it's still there. You know in your fucking heart, as a man, it's still there, right? So I don't want to ramble too long. I don't like to make these too long. I just really wanted to touch on willpower, just on that spirit, that warrior spirit. I don't know how to describe it, but you guys feel. I don't know how to describe it, but you know you feel it, and you know it's a good feeling, and you know it's right. As a man, you know fueling that warrior spirit and developing yourself better, you know it might be a hard road. You know it might be the hardest thing you ever do, but you also know it's 100% right. You know within your soul it's the right thing to do, right? So yeah, please make sure you guys check out the other videos. I don't want to ramble too much about COVID. I already done so many rants on that. I don't want to ramble too much about like how different societies have been run throughout history. I've done so many rants on that stuff. You know what I mean? Capital Hungry fresh gear here. You guys like that? I'm looking like Leonidas. But yeah, I just want to fucking lift up my fellow Spartans who are feeling down, give them this little Friday motivation. And please make sure you guys check out the other psychology webinars from trading psychology to personal development, fitness, aggression, masculinity, how society is very mentally weak and sick. Just so many different topics to go check on. So all right, everybody. Unless somebody has some questions or some shit, which I think no. I hope everybody enjoys your weekend. I hope everybody enjoys the Friday. I know I went off on a little bit of rant. I always do. None of these webinars ever have a script. It's just me going off on a tangent live, talking to my fellow brothers, talking to my fellow warriors, talking to my fellow... Man said, how do we get traps like that? Monty. All right, everybody, take care. Make sure you share this around with the other Capital Hungry psychology videos, and let's lift each other up, but push each other. We can't be soft. We cannot be soft with each other. Okay? We have to be very direct. We have to be very brutally honest, and we have to be brutally honest with ourselves and just keep pushing ourselves forward bit by bit, day by day, and I promise it will lead to a more fulfilling life compared to what the majority of people are doing, scrolling away, consuming, being the perfect consumers, not producing anything. All right? So let's go. Let's get it. Take care, everybody.